So I'm going to press these bushings into these upper control arms. I have new bushings for them. I just measured the thickness of the arm and the width of the shell and then put a mark on either side, and that's you know, I want to get it centered up. So I'm going to press it into this mark, one or the other, whichever one I can see better, and then we'll go from there. Done with this. Not really, but sounds good. Pretty good. So you can see it's pretty much centered up. Did it with both. I'll do it with the other arm as well. Not that hard. Ball joint press works fine. If you have a shop press, obviously you can use a shop press, but I will go around and I'm going to clean this, and I'm going to paint these again. I painted the arms already, cleaned them up, painted them, but I want to get a coat of paint on this shell because this is what gets rotted so bad. It causes nothing but problems. So I'm going to paint that. I'll do the other one, and then we'll work on the trailing arms and do the bushings in them as well. Then I'm getting ready to press this one out. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I will. But before I did it, the other one fell out, except for the shell. It left the center shell in. I just took a punch and punched around it until it collapsed it to get it out. But these are set in a certain direction to mount the bolts. So I've marked on the arm where that is. When I put the new one in, I want to line this arm up with those marks so it's back in the same place. Alright, so I took these over, got them on a shop press, pressed them back in. I did mark them. You can see where I marked the direction of the mount plate. So you want to do that. I think I mentioned that before, but make sure you mark the angle and put them back in with the facing the same way. Press them back into where they were. Now I'm just going to wipe them down because I've already cleaned these up pretty well and sprayed them with a rust preventer. And I'm going to paint them, and we're going to start putting everything back together. Most of these fasteners are 85 foot-pounds. I am not going to tighten anything up completely yet. I'm going to put everything back on. I want the cart ride height in order to tighten everything up, so I'm just going to get everything back together first. These control arms, these upper control arms. So there's two. Let me turn my light. I'm going to turn my camera around here so I can see if you can even see what I'm doing. There's an end that drops down immediately, and then the other end kind of goes out and then drops down. You can see that. The end that drops down immediately goes to the inside. It's the upper arm. This goes to the outside. The flatter side goes to the outside, the trailing arm. So just remember that when you're putting them on. I'm just going to start putting stuff, rehanging everything back on here and getting it all ready to go. I will be anti-seizing these bolts when I put them in. Not the threads so much as the part that goes through the collar of the bushings, just to try to keep corrosion out of there because that's where they seize up all the time. The last two bolts I'll put together will be the two that have the alignment cams on them. They're the last two I will tighten. When I get this under the car and get everything together, these will be last. I have an idea. I looked at the angle of them when I took them out to see where they were, and I'll put them back about the same angle. You will have to get an alignment done when you get everything back together. It's just, you got to do that. I got all my bolts back in. They're all loose. They're not tight. I figured out that I think the only way you're going to get these coil springs back in here is you have to put this back in the car, undo your lower control arm, and put a floor jack under it. Put your spring in there, press up on the floor jack to get it lined up. I just have the bolts in here temporarily to hold it in place. I did have to, in order to line this up, if you had the front two in, I had to pick this arm up pretty good and actually push down a little bit on the upper to line it up to get it in there, just temporarily. So that's what I had to do, but I did paint my one trailing arm on the one side that I forgot before. This is upside down. We'll just flip it over. My junk out of the way here. I put a new filler neck in this car too because it was really rusted. I'll show it to you and show you how rusty that was, but it's a lot easier to do with the subframe out. You can do it without that, but it's a little bit easier because you don't have to work around it. So there it is. That's the direction it's going to go back into the car. Everything's back together, and now we'll just work on getting it back in the car. I just wanted to show you this. That's what the filler neck looked like. Obviously, it's the top of the filler neck. Down the bottom, not looking real good at all. And I figure while I'm in there, I was in the junkyard pulling parts and pulled one out of another Ford, which is in really good shape actually. And I put that one in. So there's your part number if you need it from Ford. 98AB9032GX. But really bad. Replaced that as well. Got the subframe back on the jack. Probably need to let it down a little bit, but we'll see if I can slide on there. Get ready to just slide it back in place. And then we'll start bolting it up to the car. I don't have my coil springs in. I still have to figure out how I'm going to do that once I get it in here, whether I'm going to have to undo the inside and do it or the outside. I'm going to try the outside first, but we'll see how that goes. We'll figure it out. Get them back in, get everything put back together. Quite enough yet. Let's see what we got here. Got a lot lined up pretty good in the back. So I'm actually going to see if I can get one of them started. Since they seem to be wanting to start right away. Okay, not quite. Got to get this up a little higher. Like that. There we go. So let me see, I've got the front pushed up, pretty much lined up here. Let's see if I can get these front ones started. That'll help to hold it up there. I got one in. Get the other one here. And both of my front, on the front of the trailing arm here, which my hand is on. Got them started. Let me get them in a little more here. I'm not tightening any of these yet. I still have play in all of them. I know you can't see it, but nothing to see. Just put the bolt in. Okay, that should have brought me up in the front enough to make it a little easier to get started with these, I think. Yeah, I think so. Let's see if I can get this lined up here. Get this going. Let's see. I know you can't see any of this, but it's really just lining everything up and putting it back together. I'm blocking your light. I know that too. Let me get this up. Get this where you can actually see something. I have my flashlight too. If I hadn't left it on, I grabbed my other one, but I don't feel like getting up to get it. So I'm going right in here, right there. Hopefully you can see that. Get that one started here. Get it lined up. I know you're kind of in the shadow, so am I. Push this up. Get started here. No, not yet, huh? No, don't want to do that yet, huh? Pick the center piece up here. Once I get it lined up, I think they're going to go right in. It's got that one started, I believe. Like I said a million times now, none of these are tight. I just want to make sure they're not cross-threaded and just get them in there, get everybody in, and then I'll go back and torque them all down. Actually, not too bad. All right, that one's good. I'm going to go around the other side, try to get another one of them. There's really not a lot of play in it. I don't have any of them tight, but there's not really much play in this once you get them in there. And once you get them tightened up, there's no play. I'm tempted to, I think, take this jack down out of here. We'll just see. I don't think it's, yeah, it's not going to move anyway. They're pretty much, they're not tight yet, but they're pretty much holding it in place. They're not going anywhere. All right, let me get my gun, small gun, just zip them in, snug them up, and then we'll torque them down with a torque wrench. My rear brake's off of here because I don't know how hard the coil springs are going to be to mess with. I could have probably mounted them outside the car and put them back on, but we'll see. I didn't want to do it because I thought they might be in the way of me messing with this coil spring and getting everything set up, so I'll leave them off for now. It's no big deal. Get my jack out of here. Get that out of the way. I don't think I need a wobble for anything now. Clean my tools up as I go. Front one's first. Trailing arms first. I'm actually going to turn my gun down a little bit. I don't want to over torque these. I do want to torque them with a torque wrench, so just snug them up. Like I said, I'm just snugging them. I know I've said that about 10 times, but I just wanted to be clear. These will get torqued. How critical is it? I don't know. But that's what it says, so that's what, in this case, that's what I'm going to do. Let's torque them down. Might have to get off the clip creeper for this. It tends to move around when you're trying to torque stuff. Let's see how this goes. No idea. No idea how it's going to go. Whether it's going to go well, or I'm going to just spend an hour here trying to figure it out. We'll see. Coil spring. I do have new insulators on these springs. The springs weren't that bad. They were a little, yeah, they have the coatings off of them, but they're not in really bad shape. Just a little rusty, but not bad. So this is what I'm going to do. Be careful doing this. That's all I can tell you. Just be careful doing it. And I don't know if this is going to work or not, or I'm going to have to go to the other side and do this, but I'm going to put this underneath the pocket here of the coil spring. Don't get your fingers. And I'm going to push it up. I'm going to stay away from it. It might come out, it might be a 3D-ish, you know, 3D movie in a second. It comes right at you. Just slipped off. I got to get to it again. Let me see if I can move this arm a little bit. I don't think the arm's got a lot of pressure. No, it doesn't. I just want to line it up now. That's what I want to do. Let's see if I can get that here. Now, start these by hand because you got to get them lined up. I remember having to pick this thing up pretty high to get it like it's not on an angle because it's not up high enough. I've got to push it up some more. But I've got my bolt in it. It's lined up, so let me push it up some more. Oh, that felt good. Let me see. Oh no, that's going in. We're there. We're there. I'm golden. Super. So it did work. Just had to get my jack lined up right on it. Alright, the torque wrench I have here somewhere. I know when to put it away. Might as well tighten that up while I'm here. That's pretty much at ride height too. I mean, I'm off the jack, so this side's compressed. So I'm going to do this whole side, all the control arms, and torque them all while it's up. But you want to do it at ride height. 85. Now I'm just going to torque inner and outer of the upper, inner and outer of the lower. And then I'll go to the center, the alignment bolt on this side, line it up where I know about the angle was when it came off, and I'll do this side, and I'll go around the other side and I'll do the same thing. And that's it, pretty much. Just got to be at ride height when you torque these down. Obviously, I'll then go put the brake drums back on, hook them back up, bleed it, and hook the shock up, and we're pretty much done. Well, that's it for the subframe. This 2000 Ford Focus. Put the shocks back in. I still have to put the brake drums back on, but I'll bolt them back on, hook everything back up for the parking brake lines, bleed them out. I did tighten the two bolts, set them back, the alignment bolts that are in the center, towards the center of the lower rear control arm. Put them back. When I looked at them before I took them off to see where they were about. Put them back that same alignment. This does have to get in alignment. You do have to get in alignment when this is done, but not too bad. I had to replace both lower, both lower control arms. The front, which is a short one, and the rear, which is the long that's used to do the alignment on it, the towing. So I did have to replace both of them. You really can't, I couldn't get bushings for them. The uppers, which is this one, there's one of the old ones I had to spare. It came on the new subframe. They're a lot heavier, a lot thicker. I was able to press new bushings into them instead of having to buy a new control arm. Put them back together. New bushings in the front of the trailing arm. Can get them. Probably be $250, $300 in parts, including the subframe. By the time you're done this, not too bad for a car that's 19 years old. Common issue from what I understand on these. I see a lot of these rusted out in the back, but I took the one from the junkyard, sanded it down, treated it, painted it, I might even go and get fluid film or something and treat it again, but it's probably good for 20 years, another 20 years. If you had to do this for your car, I hope this helps you out. If you like the video, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Get to do it twice. I want to get this where it needs to be. That's that what I want. I think that'll give me enough play. Hold up on that. Like I said, just be careful. I gotta let it down a little bit further. Get that spring back in there. Oh, it's holding me down. I am holding it down. Look at all that mess. Really? Ah, you pain. I gotta do this. That's really what I want right there. Now, I don't think I'll be able to get that bolt in there as far as lining it up right now. So I'm pretty sure I have to pick it up more to get that in the right place. But now it's over it, and I can see where the hole is. I believe as I pick this up. Let me see if I can move this arm a little bit. I don't think the arm's got a lot of pressure. No, it doesn't. I just want to line it up now. That's what I want to do. Let's see if I can get this in here. Now, start these by hand because you got to get them lined up. I remember having to pick this thing up pretty high to get it like it's not on an angle because it's not up high enough. I've got to push it up some more. And I've got my bolt in it. It's lined up, so let me push it up some more. Oh, that felt good. Let me see. Of course I can't. Oh no, that's going in. We're there. We're there. I'm golden. Super. So it did work. Just had to get my jack lined up right on it. Alright, the torque wrench. I have here somewhere. I didn't even put it away. Might as well tighten that up while I'm here. Oh, excuse me. That's pretty much at ride height too. I mean, I'm off the jack, so this side's compressed. So I'm going to do this whole side, all the control arms, and torque them all while it's up. But you want to do it at ride height. 85. Now I'm just going to torque inner and outer of the upper, inner and outer of the lower. And then I'll go to the center, the alignment bolt on this side, line it up where I know about the angle was when it came off, and I'll do this side, and I'll go around the other side and I'll do the same thing. That's it, pretty much. Just got to be at ride height when you torque these down. Obviously, I'll then go put the brake drums back on, hook them back up, bleed it, and hook the shock up, and we're pretty much done. Not too bad, actually. A little bit of a hassle, but all things considered, not bad.